Minister of Health and Social Development Ronnie Skelton says the signing of a child protection protocol and a domestic violence protocol mark a new era in a quest for social justice. The signings, held on October 1st at the Premier's conference room, which received support from various government and non-governmental agencies, will change the way the territory handles domestic violence and child protection.
Today, as Minister for Health and Social Development, as a husband, as a father, and a grandfather, you should know, as a member of this community, I am proud to usher in a new era in a quest for social justice. Domestic violence and child abuse offend the basic values of our society. The devastating physical, social, emotional, and financial impact go to the core of our sense of our human dignity. These impacts not only affect the victims directly, but also have serious consequences for their children, parents, siblings, co-workers, and friends, as well as the wider society.
The protocols, which outline comprehensive and multidisciplinary guidelines for the handling of domestic violence and child protection matters, were signed by Minister for Health and Social Development Ronnie Skelton, Minister for Education and Culture Myron Walwyn, Director of Public Prosecutions Wayne Rajbansi, and Commissioner of Police David Morris. According to the Director of Public Prosecutions Wayne Rajbansi, the signing of the documents meant that the mold of domestic violence and child abuse is broken. He said the documents offer a systematic guidelines for coordinated action, while noting that victims must be treated with sensitivity.
Today, the territory has taken a Herculean step in the protection of victims of both domestic violence and child abuse. The signing of two protocols demonstrates the height of culture and civilization, both robust and refined. Everything that we do to advance protection of the vulnerable group will be held up against this benchmark. For far too long, victims were taken from the certainty of turmoil and dropped into turmoil of uncertainty. Their dilemma had no voice. We break the mold today as advocates for this cause, and with a singular, melodious voice, we state boldly, without vain recrimination or excuse, stop the violence now. These protocols create a roadmap for capacity building amongst stakeholders. It is a systematic guideline for coordinated action. A multidisciplinary approach to the prevention and treatment of these issues is widely recognized as the most effective way of responding.
The domestic violence protocol is focused on acts of violence, whether physical or verbal abuse, on an adult, sexual or intimate partner, whether the parties live in the same household or have a visiting relationship. Acts of violence against children, including those committed within households, will be addressed in the Child Protection Protocol led by the Social Development Department. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Social Development, Petrona Davies, says domestic violence and child abuse are societal issues that everyone must work together to eradicate.
Spawned by the need for greater clarity, consistency, and efficiency in the handling of child abuse cases and domestic violence cases, the protocols are the first comprehensive, multidisciplinary set of guidelines for addressing domestic violence and child protection matters across various government agencies. Let me just say from the outset that reducing violence in the territory requires a whole of society approach. 95% of adult victims of domestic violence are women. Over 50% of men who use violence against their partners abuse their children as well. Victim blaming is pervasive, but violence and abuse are not women's issues.
The signing of these protocols signals the commitment of various agencies such as the Department of Education, the Police, Family Support Network, Gender Affairs, and other departments in the Ministry of Health and Social Development to manage and offer help to victims and perpetrators of child abuse and domestic violence.